from the mines.
No news, sir. Goblins will slice us to ribbons if we approach the bridge.
Unacceptable. I want those goblins out of my mine by yesterday. Send another man. As many as it takes.
We haven't enough men among us to take on even a few of them, sir.
Are you deaf? I said I want those goblins out! Make it happen, even if you have to spear Drexis yourself. A source hunter! My liege, I am at your disposal. I am Lawrence, the representative of the mining guild responsible for operations in Silver Glen. Please, valiant hunter, let us know how we can assist you. Oh, I am no one special. Merely a humble servant of the guild and shepherd to the happy flock of miners within this settlement. My only cause for complaint, Your Grace, are these awful goblins. They're starving us out, refusing even a single honest miner his right to work. Perhaps, my most upright highness, you might be able to help us with this little problem. You must forgive me if I become somewhat overcome when discussing it, my liege. To think how I've been betrayed. To think how the humble miners of Silver Glen suffer. I invited a tribe of goblins to assist us in clearing the tenebrium from our mine, you see. The leader of the troop, a satin-spitting Satan named Drexis, promised to clear the tenebrium and be gone. When the job was done, though, he and his band of totem-brained fiends refused to vacate. They've kept close guard of the bridges to the mine since, and they'll slice whoever dares approach them into ribbons. These goblins follow Drexis like lemmings, Your Grace, and if only I could undo the traitor, they'd slither back to the swamp they crawled from. Drexis's head on my mantle would save countless miners from a slow starvation, my liege. What's one goblin over countless disenfranchised workers? Please, Your Grace, I am completely at your disposal. Those brutes! I invited them here to save our valued miners from the ill effects of clearing tenebrium, and those interlopers met my invitation with a hostile takeover. They haven't allowed a single human miner past them in months, and meanwhile my men have all but forgotten their vocation and turned instead to their damned religion. Useless stuff, my liege, worse than common dirt, but 10 times as difficult to extract and infinitely more dangerous. If only we'd known in advance the terrible effect rot would have, we would have stopped trying to clear it immediately. Yes, a dreadful business, that. I've been fortunate enough to avoid the sickness so far, my liege, but my heart truly breaks for the families of those who've been afflicted. You see, my liege, when a miner has been overlong exposed to tenebrium, he begins showing certain symptoms. Gangrene about the extremities, fatigue, malaise. At first, we attributed these symptoms to poor diet, laziness, and general malingering. Had we known then what we've since discovered, we never would have continued operations. But alas, mistakes were made, and those we lost can never be brought back, no matter what that crackpot conduit would have one believe. My liege, you ought not to concern yourself with the fraudulent leader of a crackpot cult. Really, the whole affair is an utter embarrassment to Silver Glen. Some insane huckster calling herself the conduit of the goddess made her way to Silver Glen at the height of the rot hold on our miners. The people were desperate, you see. When by magic or illusion she managed to cure a handful of them of the affliction, every last one of the bunch began speaking of her as though she were some messiah. Now most of the town is taken with her little cult of immaculates, as she calls them. Fortunately for her, she disappeared shortly after her little trick. Or I would have thrown her into prison and swallowed the key myself. Imagine hypnotizing an entire town with nothing more than snake oil. Ah, yes, Ben. Of course, one of our many noble miners, Your Grace. A smallish man. I believe he's around here somewhere, isn't he? Enough to know the whole institution has been a blight on productivity. With the blessings of the conduit to replace a sense of a job well done, the miners care hardly at all for getting the mines back in good working order. Preposterous! What does that foreigner know about the affairs of Silver Glen? You do best to do as I do, my liege, and turn a deaf ear to her insane accusations.
I don't mean to make trouble where there ain't any, comrade, but in my years of hunting source, I learned that anyone so eager to climb into your lap after a moment's meeting is hiding something they hope you won't discover. I'm not saying this Lawrence character is involved in sorcery, but it wouldn't exactly surprise me a lick to find out he knows more than he's letting on. Warms my heart to picture him squirming about plain as day with 3 seasoned source hunters on his tail. Nowhere to hide his sniveling mug than at the bottom of a burlap sack.
Why don't you stay a while?
Source hunter, are you? What brings you to this neck of the woods? The goblins? The orcs? The cult? Or the whole pretty bouquet? Don't be surprised if you hear more than a few unkind words about yours truly around town. An overseer's got to enforce his share of unpopular guild decisions, you know. I'm finished with this one-pony rodeo, though. I did my best by these roughnecks, and now it's time for old Brandon to take a load off. In fact, you may be able to help speed my retirement plan along.
Me? Let's hear the details.
No crooked plans shall cross these ears.
Surely this little intrigue is just what we need to spice up this adventure.
We've no idea what Brandon has in mind, and it'd be foolish to leap before we look.
Over here, sweet cheeks.
No, we'll do as I say.
I knew a source hunter'd perk up at the sound of a challenge. Excellent news. Between you and me, the Troll King's sitting on a piece of treasure of more value than even he knows. A metal called tenebrium that can fetch a prettier sum than its weight in gold. I intend to lift it, sell it, and live out the rest of me days in comfort. The devil's in the details, though, and I haven't managed to find a way to access the King's Cave, much less make off with the stuff without being noticed. But you're a source hunter. You can sniff out any point of mystery. So let's make a deal, You find the tenebrium and bring it to me, and I'll deliver you a few pieces of information about Silverglen, and Lawrence in particular, that are sure to make your mouth water. I wouldn't wish the Ross on me worst enemy, though. So let me give you a little something to contain the tenebrium bars. It's lined with the fragments of a special stone that keeps rats' ill effects at bay. Apart from Gungir's stature and incurable case of the uglies, it's not so different from a parakeet. Got a brain the size of a pea and a fervent passion for all things bright and shiny. The nutty oaf sits on a river of silver beneath these mines, but leases it to the mining company for a fraction of its worth in gold. He'd rather put those hefty minions of his on toll duty than mine these hills himself for 5 times the reward. I can't be certain myself where his cave is located, but at least one of those oaf lackeys of his must know where to look. They've got to do something with all the gold they've gathered in the course of guarding those damn bridges, haven't they? I'm no man to refuse a source hunter. Ask away, friend. That circus rolled into town shortly after the tenebrium was discovered. Some freak woman with a freak gemstone managed to cure rot by some strange magic and convinced most of the locals that she were the conduit of the goddess or some such tripe. A strange sort of substance, discovered here around 2 years ago, and folks have been clamouring to get their paws on the rancid stuff ever since. To the right buyer, it's worth more than diamonds. Rot? You're a curious sort of fella, aren't you? Ask around. Half the men here have a brother who died from it. The other half were cured by that cult. Lardens actually invited those bug-eyed creeps here himself. The miners were dropping like flies, and goblins had more of a natural tolerance for the work. Little did we know they'd overrun the place in a matter of months.
Wanna have a good time?
I remember him well. Decent man, strong-backed, but something of a funny accent, no? He managed to leave Silver Glen alive, but as I recall, the symptoms of wrath were already upon him.
Why don't you stay a while,
Well,
darling?
kick my cap
I
and
just
call me
know I could
Sue.
take you on a
Taking tasks from
wild
fact
ride
dealers,
if
are
you
we?
let me.
God's almighty.
Your squawking is so much like an angry mockingbird's.
The goddess guide you through the forest and keep you safe.
You there, your knightship. Oh, please, come to our aid. My wife and I are stranded here. Oh, we're refugees, my liege. 2 of the far too few souls that managed to escape Hunter's Edge when the orcs invaded. We were hoping to reach Silverglen, but we were attacked by highwaymen. Those devils would have scalped and skewered us if it hadn't been for Alfie. Oh, the brave creature bit one of them in half, though not before being frightfully wounded himself. Oh, it was naught but a small stop for trading folk along the long road south to Sicil. Well, we got along all right, but now our little home's finally been undone. Orcs invaded, and the source hunter who was meant to protect us didn't save a one of us. Bravest beast of burden in the borough is Alfie, but the poor blighter's bleeding like a stuck pig and can't move no more, which means we can't move no more either. Why, it would be folly to abandon a bandit killer in a wood full of bandits now, wouldn't it, your knightship? Besides, all our worldly wealth is strapped to his back. We'd be destitute without it. And yet, we can hardly stay here forever. Silverglen is close enough to see the chimney fumes from here. Mara absolutely refuses to leave Alfie's side, and like I said, I'm inclined to agree with her. If only a stout champion would, step up and lend us a hand. Oh, we'd be mighty grateful if you would escort us to Silverglen, your knightship, for it is our aim to set up shop there. A new smithy in a new town. Without Alfie, though, without the tools he carries, I'd be like a fisherman without his rod, grasping for salmon with his bare hands. Never could I produce the quality of work for which I'm renowned. Our predicament is clear, and the biggest problem is that Alfie's wounds are so dire, no ordinary healing potion will work. He needs Well, I don't know what he needs, but they say miracle cures are produced by the priests of Silverglen. We are, my liege, though like I said, it would grieve us dearly to leave Alfie behind.
You're right. We should try to heal Alfie first.
Indeed. He carries your belongings, after all.
I'm glad you've agreed Alfie needs to be saved before we can depart. Please leave no stone unturned in your search for a concoction that will heal his wounds.
I knew that man, comrade. A fine blacksmith, Bjorn. It gladdens me more than you can imagine to see he and Mara escaped Hunter's Edge. But it's no wonder he blames me for what happened there. Well, it started like any other day, comrade. I told you before, and this much was true. Hunter's Edge was a quiet place. There hadn't been a peep from the Phantom Forest in nearly a century, and save the occasional drunken orc wandering in from the west, there was nothing for any of the townsfolk to fear. I was on patrol one sunny afternoon when I stumbled upon a pair of scrawny orcs building a fire. Bellowed at 'em to get, but they went for their swords instead. Well, I made short work of 'em, but I couldn't find their tribe insignia anywhere. What I did find was a deep red, apple-sized gemstone in one of their pockets. It was warm in my hand and seemed far too fine a treasure to belong to an orc. You and I both know that now, but then my senses were dulled by years of peace. I'd grown soft. I was foolish. I figured it to be an oversized ruby, and it was the worst misjudgment of my life, comrade. Their kind never did take a shine into such finery, so I assumed it had been stolen for its trading value. I pocketed the gem and planned on sending it up to Academy North for the Order to deal with. All was peaceful back at the village, all was quiet. If only I'd known then. If only I had paid attention, had seen the signs. Night had only just begun to fall when they surrounded us. It could only have been a few dozen, but they swarmed like hundreds. Those of us who resisted were immediately cut down. I watched the blood of innocent villagers spill into the streets. I saw their bodies hit the ground. People it was my job to protect, comrade. I made myself promise that night, comrade. Never again would I let another sign of source pass me by unnoticed. Never again would I fail in my sworn duty. It's a promise I intend to keep. Let's discuss it another time, comrade. It ain't easy for an old bear like me to greet these ghosts. For now, maybe we ought to soldier forward. Plenty to be done around these parts, eh? Ready to advance? Ready to defend?
Oh, no! Not that! Please!
No, no! You're hurting him, Sir Knight! Oh, no wizard's tricks will cure poor Alfie.
We're stuck here, so close to our goal. Oh, will we ever reach Silverglen?
Ooh, the pain. Demons take all bandits. I bit one of the buggers in two, and still he stabbed and stabbed before he finally croaked. I have no idea what I am really, only that I was caught in a snare when I was very little. Luckily, the hunter thought I didn't look quite appetising enough to be eaten, and so he sold me to Mora. Bjorn didn't like the look of me at first, but when I grew strong, stronger than 5 stallions combined, I was suddenly promoted to carrier beast. Were that I was weak, for I loathed carrying things. Bless your heart merely to suggest it, my friend, but you'll need powerful magic indeed to cure this devilish gash. I've heard they dabble in healing rituals in Silverglen, which is, ironically, the very place we're unable to reach, us three. A bloodstone? Then it is in your power to heal me. Will you?
To think of all the clothes I left
We
behind
have the
in-
means to save this animal, and so we shall.
That would be the kind thing to do, yes.
My word. Well, this is marvellous. Nay, miraculous. Outlaws be damned. I am healed.
As powerful as it is sinister.
I'd add some of these blue mushrooms we saw to this here hodgepodge, but my uncle added them to his dinner once and he saw blue goblins for a fortnight.
Are you holding up, my sweet? Not too
Oh,
tired.
I feel fresh as a daisy again. He is still a bit green around the gills. I do hope we'll leave for a pleasanter place soon.
Cool of
They
forest.
worked me as diligently as a peasant is oxen, but what can I do? They've owned me and fed me for as long as I can remember. As far as I know, this is what life is. Even though I have good hopes they'll give me a bit more rain now that I've saved them both from a gruesome goblin death.
And that's the
Toasty.
last of the potatoes. We'll be dining on pine cones soon if no one comes to our rescue. Oh, how good it is to see a human face in these odious woods filled with nightmares come real. Do forgive me if I seem a bit bedraggled, but we've had a frightful time of it of late. My husband Bjorn's a blacksmith, of some renown as a matter of fact, a favourite with the legionnaires that passed through Hunter's Edge, or used to, I should say. He hasn't a head for business though, and that's where I come in. We made a good living, he and I, in that quiet little town. Orc plunder now.
Sisters.
What is there left to say, really? I could tell you it's more wholesome than Sicile, but then the orcs came. I could tell you it's cosy, that the people there are nice, but then the orcs came. All you'll find there now are broken dreams and broken bodies around orcish bonfires. Hunter's Edge? It no longer exists. Dear Alfie! Good as new! Oh, you're a blessing! Do you know that? Oh, please bless us once more and lead us to Silverglen.
What do you say, your knightship? Will you escort us to Silverglen?
We ever reach
He's right as rain again, is Alfie, and he has you to thank for it, my liege. A miracle worker is what you are. We are your knightship. With Alfie healed, we're raring to go. Right you are, Sir Knight. This is it, Mara. You and Alfie stick close together now. Onward, to Silverglen. Silverglen! I can see the watchtowers! We're almost there!
Surrender now! Vile kiss of the serpent.
Crystallizing cannon!
Away from me, fiend! Away!
Away from me, fiend! Away!
Charge of the champion!
Death is its own deliverance.
You need to strive harder against me!
May the goddess guide you through the forest and keep you safe.
Silver Glen! We did it! Oh, you did it! Oh, Mara, my love! Truly have we been delivered. You live, Alfie lives, and I do too. Oh, joyous hour! I still can't believe it! Silver Glen! What is to become of us here, I wonder? Oh, but I know, don't I? A blacksmith I was in Hunter's Edge, and a blacksmith I'll remain, for such is my one purpose in life. Aye, come what may, your knightship, I thank you for standing by me, by us, during our hour of need. I thank you.
We meet again, and well met you are. Did you know I've constructed a little theory about you both? Yes, I have indeed. The theory is this. You are not you. Or rather, you are you, but you is not all there is to you. And that goes for both of you. But I see you're staring at me like a cow stuck in an astronomy lesson, so let me start again. I think that you carry two souls inside of you. One that belongs to the mortal human beings that you are now, and one that belongs to certain someones with whom we've both become acquainted. You remember that segment of the tapestry your efforts helped to mend, don't you? The two great generals? How they led the battle against the Void's first attack on Rivellon? It would explain a lot, wouldn't it? Your connection to the Void, your presence here at the end of time. True, the mystery of Starstone remains, but at this rate, we'll have it sorted out in 2 shakes of Ahu's tail. As luck would have it, a new portal awaits. Perhaps answers do as well. So, onward.
A second soul? Do you think it could be true?
His theories are nonsense. I am who I am, and no other soul is sharing joint custody with my body.
Come now, just look at the events we've set in motion. Our souls are greater than ourselves. They are meant to soar, and they'll soar yet.
I wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
What have we here? A study?
Wonderful. About time you got an education.
Guardians, dear guardians, when I see your faces, it is like the barriers of time tumble in upon themselves. But oh, how my heart aches when I think of the duty you adopted. It was more than even the gods had the right to ask of you. You did not want it, but you took it upon yourselves nonetheless, though many wailed and many wept. In a raptured world, wherein all resolve had crumbled, you renounced life and liberty to stand guard and protect every last morsel of creation. When I despair, I think of your sacrifice. In my darkest hours, I cherish the resolve that was you.
It's a good thing to be cherished.
Even though apparently we had to give up life and liberty for that to happen.
Hail, holy light, offspring of heaven, firstborn! About me, the Guardian's first disobedience, and the fruit of that forbidden box, whose depths brought death into this world, and all our woe with loss of source I remember. I come no spy with purpose to explore or to disturb the secrets of your realm, but secrets of my own I bring. The secrets of another world, perhaps not lawful to reveal. Which way I fly is here. Myself am here, but in the lowest deep. A lower deep still threatening to devour this homestead opens wide. Whence thou returnest, and whither wentest, I know. Direction hardly signifies. To ask or search, I blame thee not. For Rivellon is as the book of the gods before thee set, wherein to read his wondrous works and learn his seasons, hours or days or months or years.
Careful, comrade. I think I sense a
I have seen the void, and it haunts me. Follows my vision like confused spots after staring in the sun.
We are haunted by the same vision, my friend. The end of all visions. But only in the dark can light be born. Let us cling to that and hope. How might I serve our mission? Threads I weave and tales I see. All will I tell. Her story is the story of 1,000 tales. She has traveled the celestial sphere that is Rivellon more extensively than even the historian has. Once upon a time, her favorite words, she was of incalculable importance during the wars against the Void Guards that threatened the creation of the gods. Wherever they hid, she found them. What plans they thought most secretive, she knew them. Teller of Secrets is her title, for in her world there are none.
Tell me, O Weaver, if you know all that is past and present, does that mean you know the future as well?
Alas, no. I can predict with a degree of certainty, but I cannot speak of what is to come unequivocally. Time and I are one, but we must both run our course before reaching reality.
Good to see you on the shelter plane. A home away from home, is it not? It shall be my pleasure. Those scallywags! They are diluting Starstone with blood magic? Vile fiends! This sect, it must be stopped. Their adulteration of Starstone could hamper our efforts to undo the void. You have to trace this sect back to the very pit where it burrows. Bloodstone. The horror. Magic as dark as this. It feeds the void where we seek to starve it. Most certainly. Ah, yes, the Hall of Heroes. Once upon a time, great feasts were held there in honor of heroes graced by the gods themselves. In that room, mortals and immortals dined side by side. I can't think of a better place to gather new heroes, should you come across such rarities, so that when needed, they can serve you in your quest against the void. So you have the inner chamber. The tapestry has shown me that these were the personal quarters of the gods chosen too. They lived lives of opulent luxury, a well-deserved return for services rendered against the onslaught of demons and dark champions of the void. They are yours now, the chosen two anew. Quite. The Hall of Winds, to be more precise, where an air elemental resides. The most poetic of nature's forces, the most gentle, but when unleashed, boy, you had better hold on to your hats. Tempest and lightning, storm and shadow. She can teach you many valuable things indeed. No more than that she is privy to secrets even I have a hard time getting to the root of. The Weaver told me she knows about Starstones, where they are hiding in the dark. She'll ask you for a price for such information, this sharer of secrets. But then again, that information is quite priceless, is it not? Like you, she is a mystery. But she seems to know you, doesn't she? Perhaps you'll meet her again, and we'll learn more about her, and about you. Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot! Wouldn't it just? Would that I had a Starstone sightseeing guide, but alas, such a booklet does not exist. Just like yourselves, Starstones are curiously absent from history, both in my writings and on the tapestry of time. From what I can gather, though, they were once cherished by devious sorcerers whose reign ended long ago. The stones are therefore most likely to be found in the ancient places of this world. Ruins, caves, the lairs of long-forgotten evils. Those are the dens you should frequent. 2 more pieces of advice. Don't go unarmed, and consult with my agent. why, but the mere fact that activated Starstone has set the Weaver of Time weaving again more than implies that it and the Void Dragon are natural enemies. This in turn more than implies that you are the Void's natural enemy, for it is you who is setting new events in motion. You who is handing the Weaver new threads. And that which she is weaving is more than an ornament to decorate the shelter plane. It is both history and future history. It is all of time. We may not understand the how yet, but our aim is clear. We shall save creation from the grip of the Void. Now, isn't that a lovely mission? Oh, I don't know if I'm more than those things per se, but having been given a divine mission does have its perks. Old age can't touch me, that's one. Immortality is mine as long as no one skewers me with a sword, and even then I'll be back in a jiffy. But of course I have a price to pay for something that is priceless. It is my duty to record all of history, and an arduous task that is. Not to mention how much stress that void out there is causing me. The end of time. I'll be out of a job. So, gather those starstones so that we may know the history that was lost. Know so that we must not repeat what leads us to this dangerous precipice, but do better and close the dark eye of the void forever. Lonesome observing the frontier of creation, surfing the vibrant tide of the eons, always approaching yet never reaching shore. Lonesome being privy to all that has been and all that is. Well, yes, actually. I don't mean to complain, but one certainly doesn't mind a bit of company now and then. Perhaps you can imagine the profound pleasure it is to have made the Weaver's acquaintance after all these years. I can hardly wait to pick her brain about the great battle of the Sons of Sigurd. The last Rivalonian who remembers it died more than 7,000 years ago. Are you now? The White Witch of Lacula Forest, is it? Lovely woman, Ikara. Can't imagine her getting caught up in affairs of the Source, though, let alone murder. But if she has, I fear she may be in grave danger indeed. Do look for her in the Lacula woods, won't you? It would be such a shame if something untoward were to happen to her.
There is magic to this place, isn't there? No matter how forlorn it seems.
There is magic, but it is not so much forlorn as it is dormant. I trust the Source Hunters and their star stones will stir it from its slumber.
I'm confident they will. They must. The alternative is unthinkable.